evening, everybody. Welcome back to Devils United. We're back again with another preview, and this one I would actually say is the biggest preview we have done yet. As we are in the final with the famous Manchester United, and we are actually going to Wembley.
Yeah.
We've got Andy and Chloe. Andy, how are you doing?
Good. Glad to do this. Always a good distraction in between my two favourite points of the year, which are Eurovision semi-final 1 and Eurovision semi-final 2, plus the final on Saturday. But now it's good to see you.
Always good to see you. Just to ask, how's the UK doing at the moment in terms
Well,
of
the
Eurovision?
UK is one of the. Don't tell the Brexiters. The UK is one of the top 5 countries that puts the most money into Eurovision. So we pay, I think last time I checked, is about 300 grand, if not slightly more, into Eurovision. So we basically buy our way to the final. So it's UK, Germany, so Reese will be happy. UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain.
Oh, that's another one. Reese will be happy with Italy.
Get a buy into the final and the host country, which normally would be Ukraine, but because Vladimir Putin decided to have a holiday in Kyiv, we this year we are hosting on Ukraine's behalf. So the presenting team, for example, are 2 English people and a Ukrainian.
Okay. How are you doing, Chloe?
Yeah, I'm good. Obviously, looking forward to Sunday, which the final is on, and also looking forward to Eurovision on Saturday. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, both will be definitely good. We'll say hello to people in the chat and we'll get going. Good evening, Reese. Thanks for coming in. Hope that you are well. Just as Reese said, check out the membership program as well on there. Good evening, Sophia. Thank you for coming in. Hope that you are well. Good evening, Brush. Hope you are well. Thanks for coming in. Good evening, Rather. Hope you are well. Thanks for coming in. Got a new nickname now, according to Rather. He's got plenty of nicknames for me. Hey there, Daz. I'm well, thank you. Hope that you are well too. And hey there, Niall. I'm well, thank you. Hope that you are well also. I've started the questions as always. I will go into it a little bit later on the questions. But we'll quickly touch on a bit with usually I say yesterday's game, but it's not. It's a Sunday's game. A very comfortable win, I'd like to say, from Manchester United. What was your thoughts on the game, Andy?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a very comfortable win. It was a higher scoring than I thought it was going to be. I can't remember what my prediction was, but I don't think it was 3-0.
Can't remember.
But yeah, I think it was good. Obviously, great from Leah. Great that Nikita got a goal because she wasn't looking brilliant earlier in the game. So it was good that she got there, to be honest. But yeah, I think it's one of those where it was one of those to get through without any injuries and without any problems. Ready for Wembley this weekend.
Yeah, we knew Katie Zellum, she was suspended for the game. So Vilde Bovisa took her place in the starting 11, and I would argue as well that she was probably the best player on the pitch alongside May Letizia.
That was it. Yeah,
standout players.
I forgot something, which was obviously United have tweeted it today, but that brilliant stop that actually Letizia did with her belly. Actually, she threw her body onto it, and it was one of the best. Because when Beth England rounded Mary, you kind of think it's in, and I can't think of equivalent stops like that literally stopped a goal to see live. It was one of those great moments to see live. Fantastic defending, fantastic awareness. Because I looked at it on the replay today, and she basically slid with her hands like that. So obviously, if you do that, you're danger of giving a penalty away, and that's trained. That's not. You don't do that as a reflex. You do that if you've been trained it. So that's just really top class defending. And obviously, I think the interesting thing as we go into if we talk later on about Chelsea, is Russo scored, and there has been a bit of a drought or a little bit inconsistent recently. So I think it'll be good for her confidence as well.
There was one as well with Bo Reese. She actually nutmegged two of the Tottenham players.
Yeah.
And you know, like I'm gonna refer it a little bit to men's football, but like the current Manchester United team, she gives me like Bruno Fernandes vibes, where Bruno Fernandes is happy just to bring the ball. Like you see, like Tunis, she try and makes a nice skill. You look at Golan and Paris are wingers, so you expect them to cut in or to cross, but you see them little pockets of space that Bo Risa does, tries to bring the ball forward, even if that's going to take a long shot to try and get a chance to create. And I swear she got an assist, but he wasn't registered. I swear she did. But, what was your question? I mean, what was your thoughts on the game as well, Chloe?
So I watched it back because obviously I was working on Sunday, so I couldn't make the game. But the goals, the way Golson's goal, Russo's and Keats' goal were all excellent. I do think we could have scored more. I think there were times when we could have scored the more goals, but we scored 3. We kept a clean sheet, and that's all that matters. And like Andy touched on, the save that Maya did was incredible, and I think my prediction was like 3-1 because I thought Beth Ingham would score, because she is the danger player for Tottenham. So I think having saving that goal really helped us because it was before we scored our first goal, and if Beth Ingham scored that, the game could have potentially have been a different altogether. We could have scored more. We couldn't have scored more. Thanks to Maya, we kept the clean sheet, and we scored literally, I think it was a few minutes later, or about 5-10 minutes later. And again, Mary Earps did some amazing saves. She did a great double save. I think that was in the second half, which, if you listen to Mark's interview, he kind of praised her for that in terms of how quickly she did that double save, which not a lot of keepers can do, especially when they're getting up and the ball's gone to like the opposite side of him, and she quickly got down again. So it just shows how much this means to them and how much they really want to win this league. So it's going to be good to see what happens on Sunday against Chelsea. And obviously Chelsea are playing right now in their game that they're in one of their games that they have got on us. So it's going to be interesting to see the score for them. And obviously at the end, obviously on Sunday, City dropped points against Liverpool, so again that kind of helps us in the battle for the league title and for Champions League as well.
Absolutely. Hey there, Vincent. Thanks for coming in. I hope that you are well. And hey there, Twalumber. Thank you for coming in. Hope that you are well also. Vincent said that we've got to beat Chelsea on Sunday and win the cup. Can't have them doing a double. It's good Chloe did mention it, that City dropped points. I never thought I'd say thank you, Scousers, for doing us a favour for once in our life. I never thought I would ever hear my words coming out of my mouth. I hope Liverpool win today.
Yeah.
I actually never, that was the first and only time I'm ever going to say it. Mathematically now, Manchester United are in the Champions League regardless. So I know people have found the Mark Skinner, people are not. But the thing is, he has made history. So fair play to the man. And now he does warrant the 1-year contract extension because he actually has got us Champions League football. So well done, Mr. Mark Skinner. But as Risa said as well, 17 goals in 2 games City have to score to get into the Champions League. It's very unlikely, but
yeah.
How do you feel about finally being in Champions League, Chloe?
I think after obviously the 5 years of the starting from where we were in the championship to where we are now, it's insane. It's took 5 years to get to where we are now. 2 managers, a lot of players, new fans, and the crowd is growing, and the crowd is getting bigger. So it just shows how important this is and how important it is from towards the girls as well. And it just shows how much hard work they have put into it to get to this point. And I think when we secure the Champions League against City, we will then be like, we can then say and then hope that the players that we want to stay will stay, like Connor, like Russo, like Earps, because we have guaranteed Champions League. And I think that's what we all said to each other in terms of them players want to play Champions League. Honor wants to play Champions League. Russo wants to play Champions League. Earps has already played it, but we want to keep her and play it and play for Champions League. So getting it just shows how important it is for us all.
Mm-hmm. And what's your thoughts as well, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, it's as you say, it kind of is mathematical, but it also isn't. Technically, a 17-goal string would equal it, but that isn't going to happen. You know, you would hope that we're going to get at least 1 point off City and off off Liverpool in the last 2 games. But so essentially, I have to say it's mathematical. I think it's weird because, as Chloe alluded to, if you'd said at the beginning of the season, would you take third and nothing else? Then yeah, you would. And you know, we've got this FA Cup final to look forward to. Me and Chloe are actually going to, which is going to be brilliant. You know, on Sunday. So it's essentially a free hit. It's a bonus round. Anyone who's into video games, it's your bonus round. You know, you've done it. This is a sort of lap of honour. And if we can make history, both in the sense of winning the FA Cup final, but also winning, you know, over Chelsea for the first time ever in quite a psychologically painful way. You know, you look at anyone who doesn't lift the trophy, they got to stand there, they got to watch them. It's painful. Some people get emotional. You know, so not only would we be beating them for the first time, we'd be smashing them across the face as we lift the trophy in front of their eyes. You know, and you're right, you know, it's weird. It's so weird in Mark Skinner because you're right, you have to give the guy the credit. But I still don't like him. And I don't know if that's.
I understand that I'm not.
No, it's weird. No, I'm just saying it's like as a sort of point of like, you know, looking at yourself in the mirror and I wonder why this is, because it's really weird. Like I've spoken to people at work when they're like, well, you know, you're top of the league, aren't you? Yeah. You're in the FA Cup final, aren't you? Yeah. So why don't you like him again? You know, what's the problem there? But you know, at the end of the day, as a good friend of mine said, I suppose, you know, he's not there to be liked, he's there to win games, and currently he's winning games. And you know, and that's definitely an important thing, I think. I think, you know, as a manager, he's probably developed in himself as well. He's got more experience by being Man United manager anyway, but also this season. I mean, you can see that the way we've sort of stayed in games a lot more. However, Emma Hayes is a very good she plays a psychological game as well as everything else. You know, like for example, when she said, "Oh, you know, this time Weiss's got to stop." You know, they've got the goalkeeper sitting down on their arse for about 10 minutes to get a sort of timeout, like American style timeout. Yet she does it herself. You know, I think she's very good at mind games, and she could easily out coach Skinner off the park on any day. So you know, he really will have to step it up and really will have to make those strides. And I think we can do it this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Quickly on Niall's question, can we win the league or it's over? We do need to rely on Chelsea dropping points. Even if they get a draw in one of the last 3 games of the season they've got? Yeah,
they've got 3, we've got 2.
Yeah, so if we win both our 2 and Chelsea are to drop, even if they got a draw in any of the games, we will win the league, but based off goal difference. However, I don't think Chelsea will drop points.
No, yeah. I think I think it's going to be hard for us in terms of winning the league, because if
Should
obviously
I get the league table up, just so we can have a look at it?
Get it all, because it'll be good to see the goal difference, because obviously at the minute Chelsea and Arsenal are both playing. Chelsea are winning 3-0, Arsenal winning 2-0, which would obviously show that
It comes
if
up
Arsenal,
on mine at the moment.
if Arsenal win, they're going third, so they go above City. Chelsea are a point behind us, with only 4 goals? No, 3 goals behind us. 3 goals behind us on goal difference.
Mm-hmm.
So it just shows that goals are so important right now. They are really important. And Arsenal again, they're two 6 points behind us. They're another game in hand on us. Same as Chelsea. So again, they've got 3 games. So we do need Chelsea and Arsenal to drop points, but mainly Chelsea. We've only been a point behind us, so it is very crucial. Their games that are coming up, they're easy. They are easy games, but if you think about, we always say with the men's, like, we've played so many games, and we're kind of losing our concentration in terms of United, and it shows how important this is. So I think the only game that Chelsea might drop points on, but that's a might, is against Arsenal when we play City.
That's what I was thinking.
And it's one of them, because it's going to be tough, because that is literally, obviously it's the week after the FA Cup final. So both teams are going to be tight, because Chelsea and Arsenal have a midweek game as well. They will play 3 games in a week, whereas we obviously will play 2, but we've not got that midweek game. But now, obviously, we get Champions League, we're going to have them midweek games. We're going to have to get used to playing them. So it's just this now, winning the FA Cup, hoping Chelsea drop points, hoping Arsenal technically drop points. But it depends on if you want City or Arsenal to get into the Champions League. So as long as we stay first and second, we will qualify and not have to do the first round. But we also have to hope that Wolfsburg don't win the Champions League and the league, because if they do, if they
way around, because the extra space is if Wolfsburg win the league. Sorry, if Wolfsburg win the Champions League and Bayern Munich win the league, because then you've got an extra German.
Yeah. So we have to hope that Wolfsburg wins the Champions League and the league to guarantee us, or whoever gets top, be in the group stage straight away. If not, all 3 teams will have to go through the rounds. Whoever finishes third will go through the first round.
What if Wolfsburg won the league but didn't win the Champions League?
That'll be fine.
That's fine. So basically, if Barca win, then fine, because obviously you'll have a German winner, and that's fine. If Wolfsburg win and Bayern Munich win, that's the problem, because you've got an extra German team you got to fit in. But if Wolfsburg win the league and the Champions League, no issue, because again, it's still just the one extra team.
Yeah, Bayern Munich, if they finish top or they finish second, they will get into the Champions League anyway, but they will go through round 2, and I think it is of the qualifying round. They won't go straight into the group stages. So what happens is the top 5 countries. So it's us, Spain, Italy, Germany, and the winners, and France, of course, and the winners of the league will go into the group stages, and they're already automatically in the group stages. And then the second and third teams have to go through qualifying rounds. So third will have to go through round 1, and then they go through like this Champions path and league path. It's all new this year. And then the second place will go through round 2, and again we'll go through a league path or Champions path. And it's very new this year. It probably will get some used to it, But I know we'll probably, once it's all been guaranteed, we'll probably have a Champions League podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, the short answer is, if you're getting confused about what the situation is, English clubs in the Champions League, apart from Arsenal that won it in 2007 and Chelsea that got to the final, are crap. So United needs to join the party. City needs to sit there, enjoy Durham away in October or whatever crappy place to get to do in the Conti Group stage, and we'll take it from here, guys. Thank you very much for the Champions League.
But can we take also a moment, as well as laughing at Manchester City, can we take a moment to laugh at Tottenham Hotspur right now? That they're only 3 points away from getting relegated. If obviously Reading win and score 10 goals.
The interesting thing about that is that Reading, that's an interesting one. Leicester and Reading have to play each other on the final day of the season. So that will look that almost might be a knockout game in a way, like loser goes down. I think, obviously, I don't follow the men's, as people know, but I do spend a lot of time on Twitter, and Reading in the men has gone down to League One. So I think that if Reading drops from WSL, you're not going to see him again in the WSL for a long time. So that, I suppose, would be a shame. Leicester, not fans. Their fans are a bit weird, and the stadium's boring. But they have a good lone keeper, so either or really. So to be honest, personally, I'd like Reading to go down because I think mediocrity should be punished. They've just been quietly just putting in the minimum, and like when we first started in WSL, they were sort of 5th, 6th in the year, and they've just dropped further down the table because they've not put the money in. So actions have to have consequences. But so I'm hoping Reading goes down. If not, I'll take Leicester. Tottenham, yeah, I know Daniel Levy's an idiot. He's the guy who wanted to close the league.
That's the only reason why I want him relegated.
Yeah. I've been to his pretty stadium. The reason I remember it so well is that the majority of Spurs fans actually never turned up. Most of them stayed in bed.
Right.
So we got a good view of said pretty stadium. But to be honest, the staff there might as well have American accents. It's an NFL stadium with a Tottenham badge on it. It's very American. It doesn't feel like a football stadium. But as I say, as amusing as it would be to have Tottenham versus Durham next year in the league or something like that, I think they'll probably hold on. But yeah, I think it's gonna be.
Yeah, they will hold on. It's as simple as that. But I suppose we could raid at one point a raid Beth England if that was the case. But maybe I'm just obviously being over optimistic if obviously Tottenham was to get relegated. But I will actually praise Daniel Levy on one thing, and this is what Manchester United was missing out on. Doing the men and the women play at the ground at the same day, one after another. I seen people when I said, why didn't we play like the derby at Old Trafford? To go, oh, because Man United was playing on that day. I was like, right, but you could have played the women and then you could have played the men. And they said it's not possible, but as much as I don't like the guy, he has actually made it possible. So there's no excuses now for Manchester United to play top teams at Old Trafford.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, I've seen Arsenal do it. I've seen Chelsea do it for doing this. Barcelona have done it. They've done double headers as well. So I think for us, if we did do it, I think it would work. But I know obviously Tottenham have had issues in terms of the women's season ticket holders, because if obviously the men are playing first in terms of the tickets, they're getting unreserved seating. So it's gonna be hard to see what men fans stay, and then how many women's fans come in, and what seats can they grab if it's unreserved seating, because are they going to have a small section like the away end, or are they just going to be able to sit anywhere? Because it's going to be interesting. It will be an interesting time to obviously watch it and see how many do stay from the men's game and how many go. It's one of them. But I think if it does work, fair play to Danny, to Levy. But obviously I would like to see it United. I think it would be good if it was like us against City, us against Liverpool. It would be good for that, to have that rivalry. But obviously, if you think how many women's fans come to the stadium. You say 5,000, and then how many fans are there in the men's game? And if the men are playing first, how many will leave if it's going to be such a big game, like such a big rivalry as well? It's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of the attendance from the men's game to the women's game.
What's your thoughts as well, Amanda?
It's weird because I know normally we don't really sort of disagree that much, but I don't think it's a good idea. I actually think I'm actually slightly against it, but only because with a sort of a load of caveats, really. I think the problem is I watch a lot, or used to watch a lot of the A-League, which is the Australian League, and it's about, Chloe will tell you, it's about 10 years behind us, if not more. But all that happens with double headers is that you end up with the women playing in half. Well, they do it the other way around, to be fair. They do women first. So maybe that's why he's done it this way around. When it's a women first, it's a half-empty stadium. So it's a full-size stadium, a 50, 60,000 seater stadium with nobody in it. And then it comes in, people arrive, and then obviously, the men's arrive. But I think the main issues that I have with it over here is, as Chloe alluded to, basically Spurs are they're essentially banking on the majority of the men's fans to leave. If they don't, there's a problem because the numbers don't work. They essentially are based on people leaving to then go and scurry to find these unreserved seats in a way. So maybe if we did it at Old Trafford, we'd have to do it differently. But my concern is, but to be honest, I see both sides. I'll row back what I'm saying. I don't dislike it or like it either, because I do worry if we carry on going to Old Trafford with like acrobats and bloody circus animals and God knows what, they're going to turn it into a kids' play area, and that's not football. But
I do think if the men's fans was to go to Old Trafford, say if it was how Tottenham done it, where the men's and the women, if any of the men's fans, if they went and made a deal, say for instance, season ticket holders for the men's, you could get for instance, you could get like the women's ticket, instead of £10, you could pay for £8. So that might attract them, first of all, and secondly, if there was them circuses and the bands, I think they'll actually boo them. An actual diehard men's fan would boo them.
That's the interesting thing about it as well. Like,
they would.
I can't. It'll get Maisie's channel strike, so I won't say it. Don't worry. But like there is quite a bit of a cringeworthy chant that we do in the women's, which is Manchester is full of Mackies, Gregs, or whatever. There is a men's version that
which one it is
that would get you into severe problems, and what might happen. And then also it's a different culture. I've not been to any Man United men's games, but I know that there is a culture of drinking from, say it's a 12:30 kickoff, drinking from 7, 8, 9 in the morning, being pretty smashed when you walk in. If people are drunk and then they start, oh, I know this one, Man United is full of, and all this kind of stuff, it has a potential to be a problem. But then, as you point out, is that not necessarily a good thing to an extent? Do we need to point out that it is football and not childcare? And actually, would it happen? And maybe the actual, maybe the truth of the matter is, let the Spurs guys do it first. Let them knock out one of their men's chants and get into trouble, and then we'll do it when everyone's used to the idea. Maybe. I mean, I see the pros and cons in both. I think we need more men's fans over into the women's game, but it almost feels like a bit like a step back, because, as I said, Chloe watches women's rugby, don't you? Sometimes women's rugby union, they do double headers, but it's never really got but they're not got the attendances that we've got in our football. So I don't know. We might have missed the boat on doing that. I mean, I think it would have to be. But then again, if you say you do it at Liverpool, right? Say you do a men's game and it's Liverpool. Men's fans in Liverpool, I've seen grown men look forward to hitting people when they hear the word Leeds, right? So if you've got a situation where you've got these like Liverpool women's fans who rock up and go, let's all enjoy the game, and somebody's there who 2 hours ago was in the 1958 part talking about burning people on a bonfire, is he really going to go, let's enjoy the game? Like the women's culture there will be a culture clash there. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. To be honest, discussed it with you. I'm bringing myself around to the idea, but only because I think something somewhere has to happen. Maybe similar to what happened with the WSL when we first arrived in the WSL, where they wrote the article about, oh, there's no rival in the women's game, but all these United fans are singing "Where's My Car Stereo" when we're playing Liverpool. Maybe we need a little bit of that back to get people to come and treat it like football again in relation to that.
One big factor why I do want it is if more men's fans came, that means there's less family days out and less. Oh, I want to see the Lionesses family days out, and there's actually going to actually watch good football. Do you know what made me laugh? I'll tell you something. What made me laugh. On so they posted it. Spurs fans were writing, "I might go. It won't be as bad watching the women's team compared to the men's." And then someone replied back, "The women's team is worse, mate."
Do you trust them? I mean, do you trust the men though not to do get your tits out for the lads to Katie Zellon or something like that? That's my other concern, a little bit.
Not too sure, to be honest, but
I think me and Maisie know, obviously, with the men's side, you do have kids there. There is kids that at the game, so they are used to the swearing version. They are used to it because it does get sung around the stadium when you're at a men's game. So I think if it does happen, the kids will have to get used to it. Have to get used to it. And if you've been brought up around diehard United fans, you know the songs. You will know what the real versions are and not what the friendly versions are. And if you think how many men's season ticket holders go to United and that are in the supporters club and have had to change the words for themselves as it is, and then they go and do Old Trafford the same day or the day after, and they're switching. It shows that it can change. And I think, I do agree that it's going to be, if we do it, it's going to be hard with the chants. It will be different because obviously if we're in the standing section where we normally are, then we're the ones that will start the chants. So it will be quite a friendly chant, and it will be that. But if the men's being there, then they're just going to they'll just start the other version.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I kind of talked myself out of not liking it. I do see the positives and the negatives. I think that something has to happen to shake it up because there is a situation now where if we're not careful, it's going to turn into childcare. United aren't helping. Other clubs aren't helping by focusing on pictures of kids with signs, stuff like that. I mean, maybe it's because, as I said, I've not been to Man United men's games, but I have seen the whatever they call themselves these days, the 1958 on Twitter, and they don't look the most friendly bunch, shall I put it that way? But would they stay an extra 2 hours? Because that's another thing I think that we haven't pointed out or maybe not noticed. It's not a quick turnaround. It's quite a long wait between the women's game and the men's game with Tottenham. I think it's like 2 hours, someone mentioned. So are people going to hang around that long? And also, I suppose, a supplementary question: why does it take 2 hours? I suppose
Well, you have to have the girls arrive. Is it 2 hours before the game kick off? And then obviously they'll probably have to clean up and restock everything, I'm guessing. So it probably depends as well if they can leave the stadium and then come back in, or if they have to stay in the stadium for them 2 hours.
Yeah, if they stay in the stadium, they'll sober up, and if they're allowed to come back in, I doubt that. But I don't know. We usually say, I mean, it may be, maybe for different reasons. I actually think maybe it'd be good to do it a couple of times, but I don't want United to go first because it will go wrong, and I want some of the club to get the shit before we do.
Yeah, well, that's understandable. We'll say hello to people in the chat, and I'll do my predicted lineup. Hey there, Paul. Thanks for coming in. Hope that you are well. Hey there, Red Devil Studio. Hope that you are well. Thanks for coming in. Good evening. Good to see you. Been a while. Good evening to yourself as well. Thanks for coming in. I hope that you are well. And big up to yourself also. Thank you for coming in. Hope that you are well. So I've done a predicted lineup. I never thought I'd say this, but Matt Skinner did actually make substitutes in the previous game. He took people off he didn't think that he would take off. So let's have a look at my predicted lineup. Is that okay for you? Yeah, can you see it fine? Yeah. Okay. So my predicted lineup: Mary Oates in goal, Blundell, Turner, Letizia, Honor in the defence, Zellum Ladd in the pivot, Galton to Paris, and then Russo up top. What's your thoughts on that lineup, Andy? Is there any changes that you'd make?
Personally, no. As you say, I think it's pretty much a no-brainer at the minute. I mean, I'd be nervous having Paris on against Chelsea. We need more pace. I'd put Garcia and have Paris as the impact player, but that won't happen. It will be the way you've done it. But another person, who I think me and Chloe definitely know, who's a massive men's fan and women's as well, has heard rumours or believes that we might go 5 at the back against Chelsea. Now, I don't know what your thoughts on that would be and how that would work. It appeals to me because we are going to have to park the bus against Sam Kerr a little bit. And we did put Jade Riviera on randomly last game. Do you see that we might be able to do something like that against Chelsea?
I think we could. What I do think will happen is I don't know how it would work, but it'll probably, if he does go to 5 at the back, I think Manu will end up coming in. I think it'll be 3 centre backs, and then you have Blundell and Honor on the wings, and then you don't play Paris. You'll play Zellum Ladd, Galton, Toon, and then you'll play Russo, and you won't play Paris. So you'll have Honor going up and down on the wings. Same with Blundell, and more so having the 3 centre backs. But I don't know how he'd work it because I just can't see having 5 at the back. I think you've just got to be. I think Turner and Letizia, if they work together, if they work how they can work, then Sam Kerr won't get past. It's always we've got to make sure that Sam doesn't get past. And at the FA Cup final, VAR is in play. So we do have goal line technology, we do have VAR. So it is going to be interesting in terms of offsides. So Sam will be getting caught on offsides, and we know how many offsides she does have and how many offsides she has played. So it's going to be interesting to see if she realizes that and how high up we play our offside trap. So for me, I do agree with this lineup. I think this is the one that will be picked. But I think if he does go to a 5 at the back, he'll take Paris off and put Mannion on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he could do. I think what I was going to say as well, my other concern, and I get why she's got to play because she's a big game player and because of her history at Wembley, Tooney, but she's knackered, she's tired, and against the best defenders in the league, against conditioned players at a bench that could come on and possibly be stronger than our bench, or at least on par with our bench, I do have concerns because she is so tired. But we're kind of the dice cast now. You've kind of just got to go with it. I mean, I'm really pleased that Paris scored last time out. Obviously, it's going to give her confidence. I think, it is a team that could beat Chelsea because the majority of the reason this season especially, the main reason why we lost against Chelsea is that we lost ourselves. We beat, Man United women beat Man United women more than Chelsea beat Man United women. But again, hopefully we saw a fast start. All right, it was against Tottenham this time out. I think we can't rely on second half FC against Chelsea. I think it's a good point that you were making about the offside as well. But Sam Kerr does adjust eventually. She adjusts a lot quicker than others used to. And we also have a little bit of that with Leah occasionally if she mistimes things. So it's going to be very, very tight. And also, just for all the men's fans in the chat, not only do we have VAR, we have Prem VAR refs that are actually doing it. So these are referees. These are referees. These are VAR. I think VAR get a little bit less, but these are Prem referees who are going to earn roughly about 10 times what the punter in the middle is going to get for that game. So, it's quite interesting, really.
Oh, who is the referee then?
Emily Hislop. She's the one. She's a normal WSL ref, basically. She seems to be the darling of Sky because she was mic'd up earlier in the season, and she did that video I think I sent you, about International Women's Day. She talking to a referee, a 15-year-old referee. Yeah. And nobody bothered to check that she wasn't into the women's game. So they said, who's your inspiration? Expected her to say Emily's on the call, and she went Mike Dean. So,
have you seen who the fourth official is?
Kirsty Dowell, is it?
The fourth official's Abigail Byrne.
Abigail Byrne, yeah, they're both as bad as each other. Yeah, no, I know. That only comes into play if Emily gets injured or whatever. But yeah, VAR, the bloke will be apparently well known as for the Prem fans. And the assistant VAR is Sean Massey Ellis, who is a really good assistant.
What's AVAR? I've never even heard of AVAR.
Assistant VAR.
So they're getting an assistant because there isn't too many people who can get in a box. As well as having a lino, you get an assistant as well.
I've got it here: the referees, the assistants, fourth officials, reserve referee.
Look, you can already see the Chelsea fans crying. Michael Salisbury from Lancashire FA, so good northerner there. And assistant referees from Derbyshire and all right, Suffolk and Hampshire, so it's pretty well equal.
Well, yeah, but brilliant referees yet again as always.
Biased to down south like usual.
Looking at the lineup that I did, I know it has been mentioned about Garcia in the chat that she should be starting over Paris. What I thought is Skinner seemed to have substituted people of who he knows he's going to be starting next weekend. Because even though we got that 3-0 win and he said, "Oh, it's a professional win," I think all he had in the back of his mind and Martin Holes was the FA Cup final. Because we've never seen Letizia subbed off ever.
No.
Blundell, it's very rare she gets subbed off. We know that Toon has been subbed off a lot more recently, and taking Galton and Paris off as well. It just shown that I think for me he wants to rest certain players ready for the weekend, and I think he gave Turner at full 90, so she is ready for next weekend. I know there's been talks about will we go to a back five, and I think, in my opinion, I don't think that Matt Skinner's going to change his formation so late on for one game, because this is the thing is the team has worked to play the 4-2-3-1 the entire season, and if you want to change to that 5 at the back, that could do more wrong than right for the team, just because they won't be used to playing the back three.
I completely agree. I've just found something that made us giggle. I wonder why such an expensive ref for the FA is on the VAR. You guys follow the men's game, so I'll put it privately so you'll see it. This VAR ref is the one who did a massive mistake against Brighton game, and he was dropped for the following round of fixtures.
Oh, he was the one against Tottenham.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you something, right?
How has he got the job?
Well, that's the punishment, isn't it? He's got to go to. That's what's so frustrating is that people see the women's game as less than. So that's the punishment, isn't it? He's got to do the FA Cup women's final, clearly.
Nah, I'll tell you something. He was shocking. He was absolutely shocking. I know people.
I don't know why I'm laughing.
he's actually really, really terrible as well. Like he cost Brighton a penalty. About 2 handballs. They should have had a red card. Tottenham as well. They literally cost them a lot.
It's probably why they've got an assistant referee in Sean to help actually keep it neutral and also make sure everything's fine and everything goes the right way, because he isn't trusted. So it is going to be interesting to see what
I just love the fact that we were like, oh, a Premier of it. I'll just put his name into Google. Oh.
yeah. To see what VAR will do and stuff, and it will be an interesting one, and it's going to be a fascinating game. If we win, it's going to be even better.
Absolutely. Shall we go on to some of the questions and then we will wrap up? Reese, in terms of the final, it's against Chelsea. Our record versus them isn't great, I know, but with how the season has gone, are our chances to win it now better? We've got the same chances as Chelsea, 50-50.
Yeah, I think if we're going to beat Chelsea, it's, especially the way this team is, it is going to be the Hollywood way. It is going to be at Wembley, the hardest and most pressure game. I think that I think what I would say, and this is a bit negative, but apologies, if we lose against Chelsea this weekend, even though City are awful compared to Chelsea, I would struggle because we'd be so down and so gutted from coming down second on an FA Cup final. But also, if we do beat Chelsea, this weekend, will it destabilize them when they play again with their extra game? But I think we've got probably got one of the best chances. As you say, 50-50 still, yeah, of course it is, but I do feel we've got a bit of a chance.
I must be honest, though, we can't go to penalties, surely, Chloe.
No, I hope not. I hope it's just done in 90 minutes and we win it. But I think if we do keep it a draw and we go into extra time and penalties, I do think that we'll do all right. I think they've been practicing. They will know that it can go into extra time penalties. We just obviously have to hope that the girls are up for it. That the five that will be taking it, the first 5 that take it, will be up for it. And obviously we've got England's number 1 who has saved many penalties. So it's going to be interesting.
Our players are crap at penalties. Even for country, we're crap for penalties. Like, I've actually never seen Toon score a penalty.
No.
It's a great British tradition for those that are my age and slightly older, is that England, well, they've stopped doing it now, but certainly when I used to follow a bit of the men's England team, you'd have striker there, that makes sense, maybe midfielder. Oh, look, there's a defender who scored 25 years ago. Oh, look, he's missed a penalty, we're out the tournament. And hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Hopefully not. I'm just having a look. Question from Reva. If United do win the FA Cup, will this make Man United attract more top players? I think what's going to attract Man United, it isn't the FA Cup, it's the Champions League.
Yeah,
I agree with you completely, mate, 100%. I think it obviously doesn't, it's obviously not, it doesn't go against them. It's always a good thing. Certain players might get a bonus because they won a cup in their contracts, a little bit more money. I know it's not the men's game, but obviously, they will get something for winning the FA Cup, I believe, in their contracts. I think it's more likely that it's going to cement Skinner into a 3-4-year deal. But that's another story, isn't it?
Lifetime contract for Martin Skinner. Oh, dearie me. Let's have a look. I don't know if you've seen this about the Rangers player that we're linked to. She's actually called Emma Watson.
Yeah. The thing is, I see what they're doing. We are picking the best British talent. We are looking at very young British players. The problem is, if you can't play them, they get annoyed and leave. Hence, Ebony Salmon being the best example. So we're looking at Carrie Jones. We've got Little John. Emma Watson is a massive talent. We're going to get her for free because of that quirk in the rules about you can't sign a contract till you're 18. Unlike so there's no Wasn't
that the same with Eva?
Yeah, there's the same rule that we're picking up basically. So it makes a lot of sense in the sense of who can bring them on, and yeah, it's going to future-proof the team, but it won't come up for another 3, 4, 5 years. Really, look how old she is. She's not. She can't technically legally drink yet. You know what I mean? So it is one for the future if we can fit them in. But obviously, we've got Carrie Jones, other players that are getting older now that we need to either fit in or move on.
I don't know. Like, obviously, I've said it about Eva. I don't know if you see it on my social media on Twitter. I said she's great for the future, but she is not going to be a starting 11 player.
Exactly.
Personally, in my opinion, she needs to be loaned out to a championship club. Personally, and you've seen that we've got great connections with Blackburn. We've got great connections there with Sheffield United. We've had loan deals with Birmingham. So and we've even got a great relationship from Birmingham for the men's side too. So I think we've got a couple of teams there in the championship where we're able to make great connections for, and I think we need that for both Evie and if we was to sign Emma, because if Emma is a talent or not, I think the Scottish League it isn't much crap. Like,
no, it's not.
It's crap. The championship's a lot better.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll touch on it as well.
Yes, of course.
I think obviously signing Evie was good because she's played first team for Aston Villa. Obviously, she's played academy as well. So I can see her obviously going to play for the academy more so than in the first team. But same with Emma Watson, I can see being more of an academy player and being brought through it that way. And then obviously what we've done as well in the past is we've done a dual partnership. So they've played for United and played for, say, Blackburn, Bristol, Sheffield United, Birmingham, Everton. They've done it that way as well. So I can see us, like you said, Maisie, loaning them out, letting them get the experience of championship football, but also getting that game time in at the academy and being a dual athlete like Chloe Williams is, like Niamh Murphy is. So it is going to be interesting. And I think having 2 top English talents is going to be good. And another thing as well is we have to have, I think with Champions League, you have to have so many English players in a team, so many homegrown players. So with us bringing in English players, it's English, Scottish, Welsh, bringing in them players, we kind of tick in that box for the Champions League as well. So hopefully these talents will become bigger talents and become superstars of the game and become like the next generation of the game and of obviously their role of where they play in the team. But like Andy touched on, we've got Carrie Jones coming back, and it'll be good to see what she does after being at Leicester and what she brings to the team, and whether or not we loan her back out again or whether or not we keep her. And same with obviously Grace Clinton. She's won the championship. Now she's back with us and back training with us. So it'll be good to see what the girls that come back from loan will bring next season.
Yeah, the only problem that I have, and there is a view now that we are turning into Lionesses FC, that has its positives and it has its negatives. I think in a multicultural league and a European league, when we start playing Champions League, every country has different styles, and a club, shouldn't go too much the other way. It shouldn't be no English players at all. I know there's rules in the women's game, but minimal English players. But it also, I think, if you are 100% English in your starting 11, you are going to lose certain things, certain skill, certain things that Spanish players bring to the table and such like. And I know we've got Honor and we've got Garcia, but there is a view that we are sort of moving more towards Brexit FC, Lionesses FC, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I think, again, obviously what we're not able to touch on today is the ownership. Is when the ownership arrives, especially if it's Qatar, who are going to be very worried about people, because Qatar's not a massive supporter of women and women's rights. They might want to come in with a truckload of money and put money towards the women's game. Is that going to change the view? Are we going to get more higher class players? Then it is interesting.
Absolutely. Just having a look here. I know we touched on as well Grace Clinton. Personally, now I'd probably loan it to a Premier League club, and you know, I was looking at both Watson and Clinton. Watson has actually got more experience in playing a first team football. She's actually got first team in Scotland.
Yeah, she's
2 games, 2 goals.
Yeah, she's a top talent, and if we do get her and having her as that experience, it is going to be good for us, and it's going to be another Scottish national team player off on national team duties with Martha Thomas, with Kirsty Hanson. It is going to be that, and it's going to show us that we are back in the national team. We are getting a lot more players out into national squads, and Nikita Parris has lost the spot, Katie Zellum's lost the spot, but with the injuries that have happened and how well they are playing, they could potentially come back. So it shows how much we do want national team and we do want league and the youngsters coming through, because Rachel Williams is only going to be with us for another year unless she decides she wants to stay longer. But we need like Rachel Williams will help these young girls that are coming through. They will get experience from a player that's been in the league for years, and having that experience and having top flight football experience will be beneficiary to these youngsters, and that's what probably they need as well. And if you think of Eva, she's played with the likes of Jordan Nobbs, Rachel Daly, Rush Littlejohn, Lehman, Daly, and her sister is also at Aston Villa, Olivia. So she's kind of left a team where she was comfortable, where she had a sister. So it just shows that she is wanting to leave to go to another club. She wanting that game time, and she knows that she'll probably end up in the academy, but will come through the ranks and will have that experience in the first team and in the senior team. And she probably knows that she might even be loaned out, like to Bristol City, to Everton, to the teams that we work alongside. So it will be good. It will be good for us, and it will be good for the youngsters as well.
Also, the interesting thing as well, the playoff from Tier 3, because it's a bit random for the final season, is before finally goes to both go up and 2 go down from next season. Nottingham Forest are playing. Who are they playing now? Nottingham Forest are playing Oxford United, I believe, for the chance to move up. Now, obviously, even I know maybe it's a bit too low level just coming into the second tier, but obviously United have that link with Dean Henderson in Forest. So will they start using Forest as an option? Because
Dean Henderson's a prick.
No, but the club has the link. I'm not talking about the player. The club has the link. So but then obviously Southampton only came into Tier 2 this year and have very strongly survived. Very strongly survived. So maybe the more clubs, the better in relation to what you can do. I think any club that drops from Tier 2 to Tier 3 seems to go out of business in the women's game the way it's set up at the minute, unfortunately.
I think for me though, it's always the second season that makes the impact more, because I think you are going to spend a lot when it comes to season. Well, not spend a lot, because obviously it's different in the women's game, but you are going to want to invest more into that team to stay up, because we know how bad Tier 3 goes. But then it's about the second season just to see does the ownership actually care for the women's team? Do they actually want the women's team to grow? My personal opinion, I do quite like Nottingham Forest as owner. As much as I think there has been some ways that I think he could improve on, he genuinely does care for the club, and he does want to bring the club forward. So I do think that he would put the investment into the women's team if that was the case. But it is just a matter of what he does personally do for that season too. And it also, you look at the teams that are in the championship at the moment, Coventry was absolutely poor, and this last season there was spectacular with point reductions.
100%, and I've just noticed as well, just to cheer everybody else up, because Chelsea are now winning 5-0. That means we have 1 goal difference at the minute, and they've got a game in hand. No, it's 1. When you look at it, if you look at the league now, if you look at Google now, I believe it would be equal, wouldn't it? So I don't know what the next measure is if it's equal.
Well, we were 42, they were 39, so they were 3 points.
Well, unless Google's wrong, what I'm looking at here
They're 1 point behind.
Is 1 goal behind.
Yeah, the 1 point behind us as well. So
no, I know, but with the extra game, I'm saying with the goal difference, so it's 40 plus 40. It's 53 for 11 against, 42 goal difference for us, 56, 15 against, 41 goal difference for Chelsea, and they've played 1 game less. I know we've got 1 point ahead of them. And obviously Arsenal are 4-0 up as well, so it is going to be a problem. Less of a problem for Arsenal because we've got more on them.
That means that they have to lose their game now. They can't even draw because we won't win on goal difference. But yeah, Matt Skinner's going to make his usual subs. Genuinely won't be surprised if he was to do that, if you want me to be honest. But we'll go on to the next question now. The next question was from Dwyer Lumber. What's the average women get paid per week? I actually personally don't know this, so does any of you know?
I think Alexa and Ada Hegenberg are probably on the most. I think they're.
You know how much they're on?
Oh, how much would you say would be a reasonable price for the women's game?
This is the thing. I genuinely don't have a clue whatsoever.
Maybe 1,000.
So
maybe.
this is so just to answer the first question. This is from August last year, and the average. This is August last year. Obviously 1st of August last year. The average salary for the WSL, according to BBC Analysis, that's average. That includes obviously your kids and your stars. Is 47 grand a year. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Leah Williamson's on 200,000 a year, according to what I'm looking at here. And as you say, I think this would have been before the Keira Walsh transfer. So I imagine it's probably going to be Keira Walsh, but I can have a look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've heard as well some of the WSL players are on 32 grand a year as well.
Yeah,
I think it's the ones who are like in mid in it.
I think Rachel Daly might be the most expensive. I think
in the WSL.
I think she's one of the biggest. Maybe Sam Kerr as well, like Andrew's put there. Panera Hart as well. You've got a lot. I think, but ours might be Russo, I think, but I don't know.
So looking at this, it's 888 Sports. So I don't know where they got the data from, but they're saying as at this year, the highest paid female footballer worldwide is Sam Kerr with £417,000 a year. Alex Morgan on 375, Megan Rapinoe on 373, Julie Ertz on 359, Ada Hedenberg on 355, Marta on 344, Henri 320, 540, and Wendy Renard 318, 510. That doesn't include Keira Walsh, so something tells me that might be a bit old, but it gives people an idea. Basically, your top of the world are going to earn about $500,000 in about 5 seconds.
Yeah. it made me laugh, this one.
I think as well, with obviously like the USA players, like in terms of your Megan Rapinoe and your Alex Morgan, if you think they get USA, the USA Federation will pay them as well. So theirs is a lot higher. I think it might include like the national team wage as well in that year. That's what I've heard anyway. It gets included in the year, in their yearly salary, their national team wage.
And it's different as well because they can hide the salaries a lot more and they can hide the transfer fees a lot more. So sometimes, like I'm just looking at Keira Walsh at the minute. They're reckoning around, that obviously the fee was 400,000. So it is going to be around 300k to 400k, which obviously is a good lunch in the men's game. But I know a couple of years ago, the average salary for United when the accounts were published for the whole squad, so that's including all the United players, is between 50 and 90 grand. And I can't say exactly, but I'll give you a very strong hint. One of our older players is on north of 100.
Not 100.
North of 100.
She's on over 100. Yeah. And I also heard, I think Toon's one of them as well. I think Toon might be high as well.
I think she'll probably be on the highest, to be honest.
Well, you've got. Shall I say it? Who it is?
What's rather worrying? Well, we'll do it in a different way. What's rather worrying is Honor, who you assume, if you just come to the women's game relatively, recently, is one of the worst paid players we have. She's only because we got her when she was unknown and she was a youngster, so we need to give her a decent offer. I think.
What was you going to say? What was interesting, Chloe?
I was going to say who the player is.
It's only because I don't know if I don't really want to. I mean, it's pretty obvious. We've only got I'll say it slowly so people get it. We've only got a really old player in the squad. So anyone looks at the squad ages, you'll get what I'm talking about. That's as far as we can go.
What, is that the highest paid?
No, I'm just saying that she's on 100k.
She's one of them.
I'm surprised at that, actually.
She was probably on a little bit less than that at Tottenham. I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
Well, the money's going to go up anyway, because I don't know I know Barclays have had the title sponsorship of the WSL for a couple of years now. I know when the sponsorship first arrived, the only team that got prize money was the winner. I don't know if that's changed or not, but the winner was only going to get $500,000. I know that as an FA Cup preview, we're talking. I think it's a very low amount that even the winner gets, isn't it? Compared to it used to be as low as 25k. I think it's about 200k they get for winning the FA Cup.
Probably
it's a lot lower. I can have the FA Cup prize money.
That's fine. It says it. If you watched the Chelsea penalty shootout in the Champions League, you will also be worried. Exactly. Chelsea actually played well against Lyon.
Yeah.
I think everyone's gonna. I say the same answer with Reese's here. Which atmosphere is better, LSV or Old Trafford? Let's just say it, LSV.
LSV.
Yeah. LSV, 100%.
It's a lot more. You're all a lot more packed in, and everyone can hear you. So, whereas at Old Trafford, when we're doing the chant in the standing section, no one else joins in. So it's one of them.
Well, I found it, by the way, if anyone's interested. How much do you think the winner of the club, not the player, the winner of the FA Cup on Sunday gets as prize money?
150 grand.
Maisie?
No, I think it's
300 grand.
Lower on both of you.
50 grand.
Higher.
75.
100k for the winner, 50k for the runners-up. Yeah, exactly. It's an absolute joke. 100k for the winner, 50k for the runners-up. So at the lower level of the league, the lower rounds, the numbers were even worse, and people, it used to actually cost some money to go there, and that's improved from last season. The whole prize money for the whole thing, for every club in the whole thing, was just under 3 million.
Wow, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. I just want to quickly touch on this because I found it funny. I don't think you was at the game, Chloe, but me and Andy was, and the national anthem went tits up.
Oh, this would be interesting because we might differ, me and Chloe, because Chloe's a bit more nicer than
I
me.
watched this point, and
I only booed a bit.
And when the national anthem, when it was obviously everyone was getting into the circle, and then the national anthem didn't start, and then you just heard this man start singing the national anthem. It was like, I just couldn't believe it. And then
nobody
the song
was singing it, like nobody was singing it at all. Like the music wasn't even on, and then like people around us was chanting, we will sing our own national anthem.
We will sing what we want. That's what we got on ours. Because we were with, obviously, the ultras in a way, our Barmy army. We would sing what we want. I mean, we did a little bit of booing. It wasn't as good. Again, I don't want to give praise to Liverpool in two parts of the same pod, but it wasn't as good as what they did in the men's game, where you couldn't hear anything from a wall of boos, or what Celtic did in, again, if you've seen it online, when they played at the weekend as well, and they said a certain thing about the coronation. I personally don't have a problem with it. I think King Charles won't really care about it either. He's not going to care either way. I think this is a problem when you start forcing people to do things in a country which has more food banks than McDonald's.
The thing is, though, this weekend the Premier League clubs had a choice to do it, and
Right.
they decided that they was all going to do it, and nobody was forced.
They weren't forced. Everyone got the.
They all had a choice, and Liverpool fans weren't happy because they said they know what the backlash is going to be. So why would the ownership and the board say yes? They can have the national anthem on.
And Liverpool fans say, we are Scouse, we're not British. That's their.
Yeah, but also, COP stands for King Over Pope, and actually, it's a Protestant team in Liverpool, and technically, Everton was a Catholic. But to be honest, was it a choice? Though, I mean, could they have actually said, "Well, actually, we don't want to market, thanks"? Like, it wasn't.
They could have if they wanted to. It was actually a choice.
But would you ever? It would have been? Can you imagine the headlines? It would have been worse than the booing. I mean,
that's why they would have said no, though. The Premier League clubs would have said yeah for that reason when everybody else was doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, go on.
I think for me, if they had a choice, the owners had the choice. They would they wanted to do it to respect the coronation, to respect the king, to respect the monarchy. They would know the backlash of the fans, and especially Liverpool fans. They, like I said, they're saying is we're Scouse, we're not British, or we're not English. And
yeah, but we'll take away from that. Let's look at United. We booed it to death at LSV. I mean, not sung it.
I did booing from LSV.
We definitely. Well, I was there. We definitely booed it for a bit, but then because the music kind of didn't really play, it sort of played and stopped. Everyone just sort of turned it into a moment of silence, and it kind of never really sort of moved forward. To be honest, I think to be honest, this is a problem where it was expected that they do it. I know they weren't forced to do it, as you quite rightly pointed out, but I think the thing is, we do live in a democracy, and you also talking about the same time where protesters were preemptively arrested for doing nothing by the Met Police and then released 14 hours later without charge. That's really quite spine-chilling, irrespective of what your view on the monarchy is. The right to protest is kind of what people lived and died for. And I appreciate that some people might get offended by it, but I think, the reason why, again, I'm not Scouse, half my family are from Liverpool, so I do know a little bit of the history. Liverpool, there was a thing that was said where in the 80s where Thatcher basically said, I don't want anything growing on the banks of the Mersey. So they deliberately underfunded the city. So there was lots of poverty, a lot of hunger, a lot of stuff like that. So I do understand it. Same with Man United, same with Manchester to an extent as well. And it is a really rough time for a lot of people at the moment. So there's a lot of people who wanted to protest. Now, I appreciate that the national anthem is quite emotional for a lot of people. If you've got anyone in the armed forces, if you've, if you own this kind of thing, but at the end of the day, I think these things happen when you don't let people protest. So I didn't see a problem with it, but I understand why people do have a problem with it. I don't think that's a wrong decision. I think it's just a different point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with that anyway, we will wrap it up. Thank you both, Andy and Chloe, for coming on. I know you'll both enjoy going to Wembley, finally for Man United rather than England. What's your score prediction, Andy?
Well, hopefully I'm going to continue my 100% record at Wembley. Though it was getting a bit touch and go in England-Brazil when it went to penalties. 1-0 United.
That'd be interesting.
And I think we our defenders probably could just about do it now if we got a goal and park the bus. I know it's dangerous against Chelsea. They'll just be hammering us and hammering us and hammering us. But I see that more likely than us winning by a large amount. I think it'll be 1-0. I think it will be 1-0 United. And if we do win 2-1 or something like that, we'd have to score first. I think if we went 1-0 down, we won't win.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I do think if we was to concede first, we won't be winning the game. And Niall, we will not win on penalties either. Millie Bright is still injured. So we'll just have to see on that how it all goes. But Chloe, thank you as well for coming on. What's your score prediction?
Yeah, thanks for having me on again, Maisie. Fantastic podcast as usual. My score prediction is 2-1 United because I can't not see Chelsea scoring. But I also think that we will score, and hopefully we'll score first, like you've both said, because if we don't score first, then Chelsea will go away with it.
I had the same. My heart's saying 2-1, and then my head is saying a 1-1 in 90.
Oh no!
We're in the standing section. I'll be knackered. You'll watch me on TV fall over. I'm going to drive 300 miles at the crack of dawn, get a tube and God knows what, and I'll be standing for 90 minutes. I'll be doing this if it goes to extra time.
Well, both of you enjoy the game. And thank you both for coming on. It's been great. Andy, would you like to shout out your socials?
Yeah, obviously, currently everyone knows that it's at AJ_87. And thanks for having us on.
You're very welcome. And Chloe, would you like to shout out your socials as well?
Yeah, it's Chloe Riley 14 on Twitter. Thank you for having us on, Maisie, and look forward to it again next week.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
I think it's a comment in relation to my long hair, and all I would say, Vincent, is if you could grow it, you'd have it this long, mate, as well.
I was literally baffled to hell.
Yeah,
I was there listening, thinking the
lead singer, sorry, the guitarist of Queen is Brian May. If you Google him, he's got long hair, frizzy long hair.
I will be doing a watch along for Sunday. So go and show the support onto there. I know there's some people who I know does watch the watch alongs anyway. I do know Lumber does come in. There will be Lumber will definitely get some great views in there as always. So thank you both for coming on. I will be next live on Friday. As I will be doing a preview for the Wolves game. So go and check that out. Smash that like, subscribe button as well, and we'll take care. See you soon. Bye bye.